Welcome back to Glanigorse Park for the Orney Company Super 1 British Karting Championships. Jnr TKM is up next. Joining me is the leading rookie in the championship, Joe Fowler. Now, Joe, you had a great round at Rowra. Started well this weekend, put it on pole in time qualifying. Not so hot in the heats, but still time to go. We've got the pre-final and the final, obviously, the televised race coming up. How have you found the championship so far? First season in the championship as a rookie, how have you found it?
It's very competitive. I'm finding it very hard to stay at the front, but it's really fun and I'm enjoying it a lot.
And that's why you come into the championship, isn't it, for the extra competition and to get better and improve. What are you hoping for out of the season this year by season's end?
I'm hoping, obviously, to win the rookie championship and maybe a top 3 as well overall would be
some race wins, maybe this weekend, of course. I know your heats haven't gone as well as you might have hoped, but you did put it on pole in time qualifying, so you've obviously got some raw pace. Hopefully you can turn that around for the pre-final and the final coming up.
Yeah, starting 3rd for the pre-final, so hopefully we can get a good grid position for the second final.
Okay, well, good luck today.
Thanks.
So who's going to get the run to the first corner? Bradley White or Adam Sparrow from the front row? Or could it be one of the men on row 2, Whittingham and Sisson? Fowler and Deal are on the 3rd, with Page, Butterworth, Pashley and the talented Abby Pulling rounding out the top 10. A 20 kart field, and 15% of that is female, with the likes of Leanna Page and Lydia Burney in the field. But it's all going to be about that run to the first corner. Sparrow versus White. How's it going to fare? Away we go. It looks as though Sparrow's going to get that inside line, but White holds it to the outside. Very nice run as they go up the straight once more towards turn 2. And I think it's going to be a drag race. We're on board with Abby Pulling, looking forward to the 55. That is Dan Butterworth. And Abby Pulling wanting to make a little bit more of an impression on this. She's at the halfway point of the field, scrapping away with a 41 of Ian Sisson there. But it's Bradley White who leads in the early stages.
Abby Pulling got a 10-second penalty for a drop nose fairing in the first heat. Oh, and that looks like
that's
Leanna Page, yeah, on the 33. She spun it round, she's out of the kart, so it's a long way back from there.
Yeah, Leanna Page, unfortunately, one of the local drivers. She's a very talented racer. Spotted her a couple of years back at the Hooton Park race circuit in Cheshire. And unfortunately, her Super 1 final has not really lasted very long here. So it's White from Sparrow, Whittingham, Fowler, Deal, Butterworth. We're on board with Pulling, who's going to make the move up the inside past Sisson. Very nice overtaking move there, and now chasing after Butterworth as they come out of turn 2.
Butterworth in 6, Abby Pulling now through to 7th, but as we know, she finished 4th in the pre-final, but that 10-second penalty put her down to 10th, so that's damaged her chances in the championship, but it's still early doors. Needs a good result here though. Goes up the inside of Butterworth for 6 as it comes through the last part of the compression complex. The left-hander here leads us into Devil's Elbow. The track drops away right there. It's a real rib cruncher out into the final turn. That's Paddock Bend across the start-finish line through Club Corner. That's the right-hander, and 220 metres from Club Corner up to the apex of turn 2 right here.
We're on board with Adam Sparrow as he looks at his rival Bradley White. But just going back to that move from Abby Pulling on Sisson, that was a really committed overtake. On Butterworth, a major committed overtaking move at the top of the hill. You've got to be really brave if you want to pull that one off, especially considering she's already had a penalty for a drop fairing that could very easily have resulted in another one. But is Abby Pulling phased? Not on your life, mate. Really pushing hard. Fantastic to see her fighting her way through to what is now P6, chasing after these 5. White, Sparrow, Whittingham, Fowler and Deal.
Yeah, she set purple sectors in each of the 3 sectors on the last lap, so Pulling is on the move. You can see how much she's got to make up there. She's a good 15 kart lengths or so behind in 6th place, but not for long.
Well, White versus Sparrow is still very interesting at the front with Lee Whittingham, the 17-year-old, not far away from here he's based. He was the NATSCA Schools champion in 2012, the man from Chester, so he'll be reeling in these two with a lot of verve and vigour. But Bradley White holding on to his advantage at the moment. We're back on board with Sparrow as he tries to make his move to the inside line. He's not going to get there at the moment. Fowler still in 4th, Deal in 5th. Pulling is catching all 5 of them though. She is again going very fast indeed through the splits and closing in on the top 5, but it's still White from Sparrow. They've each got a victory in the earlier heats. It's all going to be about who's got the tenacity to stay out in front the longest.
Up the 220 metre Dragon Straight, White set a purple sector in sector 2. Lee Whittingham set a purple sector in sector 3, so different drivers set in purple sectors, and we've got to change through the spoon.
We have. Whittingham's got up to second place. He's bided his time and he's gone on with it into second position. A little bit further into the race, and we're back on board with Pulling, chasing down the 31 Joe Fowler. And so Pulling has worked her craft through to 5th position, right on the tail of the man we spoke to just before the start of this race. And they make their way through the compression complex, through the left, through the right, and through the left again as they head into the final turn. Not too much curb, get a good exit to move into Club Corner. Those 2 corners on the circuit are actually really critical in the mid part of a race. You've got to get them absolutely spot on to get the run through the Dragon Straight. It can be as much as 2 or 3 places in a long train. So she's really closed up, hasn't she? Look at that, that gap has just disappeared. She's right on the pace now.
Leader's got a bit of a breakaway here as Adam Sparrow goes up the inside for a spot. Fowler goes with him, Pulling goes with Fowler, and just like that, and Whittingham fights back, gets a spot back, but he lost 3 going through the carousel and gets 1 back on Pulling. So Pulling's still there now in 5th place. But look at the leader here, he's got a good 10 or 12 kart lengths.
Fantastic again in Jnr TKM, and once again proof that the field is very evenly bunched. Now Pulling looked to me as though she got a move on Whittingham into the final turn, and Whittingham cut across, and did you see she actually backed out of it? You have to think about this in terms of what she's already been through in the course of the day. As up the inside, Fowler gets the second in front of the 19 of Sparrow and the 50 of Whittingham, but as I was saying, Pulling had to back out of that move into the final corner. She's already had a penalty for a dropped fairing. She could easily have got another one there, so she's going to have to do that hard work all over again. She could be in the top 3, but she just had to think about it in terms of championship points.
These karts scrapping in behind will help Bradley White here. White dominated at Rowra, but lost the televised final, didn't win that. He won the 2 heats in the pre-final, didn't win the final. Looking good for the final here though. So the rest of the karts down the field, all scrapping for position across the start-finish line and through turn 1, which is Club Corner, of course.
Looks as though Fowler's going to have to defend like crazy because the pack of dogs is really starting to chomp at the bit now. Down Damon Hill once again, up towards the carousel, and Fowler holding that inside line on the Jade car. Back on board with Pulling, having a look at Lee Whittingham. Whittingham in 4th position. A good run this is from Whittingham, and he's looking at the dizzy heights of a podium, but he's going to really have to go for it now. 3rd position, Adam Sparrow, stuck behind Fowler a little bit. This is heaven sent for Bradley White out front, isn't it? This is the golden opportunity he needs to pull away.
It is. These drivers need to think about that. Certainly Sparrow in 3rd place there needs to think about pushing the man along in front of him to try and get back to the leader as Pulling goes up the inside but gets a nose cut off by Whittingham. Whittingham holds on and Pulling just can't get through. You can feel the frustration.
Well, certainly in terms of speed, Pulling is the fastest driver on the track at the moment, but the opportunity to overtake at Glanny Gorse is very difficult. It's not the easiest of race circuits to get an overtaking move nailed on, but Bradley White has lost a bit of ground. Look at this. It is now a 5-kart train once again. Not sure what happened to White, whether he just missed an apex, but now it is a 5-kart scrap. A little further into the race, rookie Fowler has made it to the lead with Pulling now on the back of Bradley White, the number 6.
These are the key highlights, Jake. White back into the lead here, up through the spoon next time around. Following lap, Pulling up the inside for 3rd spot. So still White out front of this stage from Sparrow, and then Pulling. Here goes Sparrow for the lead at the end of the Dragon Straight, gets through. Pulling goes with him for 2nd.
That is the narrowest of gaps to go for, and a little bit later on into the race, Bradley White, no, I'm not done yet actually, Abby, move over, I'm coming through and into 2nd position, so potentially the top 3 drivers in the championship scrapping away for the victory here. White, Fowler and Pulling, and White has just gone off the circuit. What's happened to White?
Last lap, White looks like he may have outbraked himself there. Pulling certainly didn't touch him. He may have braked to stop running into the back of Sparrow, but White's gone. Disaster for him. We're into the last lap, last 3rd of a lap.
Well, can Pulling pull off a killer move round the outside? She's going to cut to the inside line. Careful not to get the nose cone knocked. It could be the difference between a championship victory and 2nd place. She is going to hang in behind Adam Sparrow. Damage limitation, the best of a bad job, whatever you want to call it. Sparrow, though, takes the win in fine style. Pulling in 2nd place. Brilliant racing in the Jnr TKM once again. And Bradley White, well, That is drama to the extreme. He's going to be absolutely dumbfounded as to what happened there. And that's a big chink in his championship advantage there. Sparrow gets the victory from pulling, and the rookie Joe Fowler with Whittingham and Sisson not far behind.
Over the course of the race, there was yourself, there was Abby, there was Bradley, there was Joe, there was a couple of others that were all there. You couldn't relax for a second, could you?
No, it's make sure I have my wits about me and make sure that if something happens, make sure I can come out on top.
Excellent. And from the back of the grid last year to the top of the podium this year, it's been quite a winter for you.
Yeah, well, we had a couple of issues last year and managed to get on top of them. And now I can show my true colours of being able to make a victory and hopefully be a contender for the championship.
What about this Jnr TKM battle? If Bradley White had stayed where he was in second place, he'd be leading by 20 points. Now there's just 5 points separating the top 4. White, Fowler, Pulling and Sparrow. This battle could go all the way to the end, and Lee Whittingham isn't out of it either. As Jnr TKM gets ready for the next round of the championship, it's the final for Junior X30 up next, with championship leader Gordon Much off pole.